Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 28th of January 2019. So welcome everyone. Welcome to this Monday's afternoon session where we're going to have a look at the markets, a few charts, the usual stuff, guys. But before we do that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimers. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so now then, guys, let's quickly jump into the charts. So now the first one I want to quickly touch on, and that's FTSE 100. Now looking at this one, we're seeing a bit of selling activity here happening, especially in the past 15 minutes. So basically right now, looking at this, the index, the FTSE here, continued to travel south the whole day today, and certainly we managed to reach this key area of support near the 6,750 level, but also managed to break that level as well. So at the moment, of course, this is building a bit of a more negative picture than a positive one. So in a way, if this continues like this today as well, further into the close, then yep, tomorrow probably we could see some more selling, maybe even actually dragging this index towards the 6,675 level here, marked by the lows that we saw here back in the 2nd of January. So one of the lows, not far from there, of course. So keep your eyes on that one. Also, this level here acted as a very good support area back in the 6th of December. So in a way, for now, guys, looking at this picture here, certainly it's not really painting that positive, a positive one, but still we could find some good potential areas of support in order for this one to maybe reverse and travel back up again, because overall, of course, yes, we are traveling below this downside resistance line here, but in order to kind of, let's say, consider much lower levels here in the long run, well, we would need to see a nice good drop, not only below the 6,610 level approximately there, but also actually below the December's lows, and which were around the 6,535. Now only then we'll consider further decline here, maybe in the long run, as this could confirm a forthcoming lower low, guys. But for now, as long as we're trading here, we're just going to look at this from the shorter term perspective, and for now this is what we're keeping a close eye on. Especially going into today's close, we're going to see how this index performs around here, around the 6,750 level, and of course, for now this is looking more bearish than bullish, so be careful with this one. If this suddenly reverses back up here and travels back above the 6,790 level, well, it does have a good chance then to travel further up. Of course, maybe not today, but maybe tomorrow or on Wednesday. So consider that, of course. But again, like I said, we would need to see this one traveling back up here above the 6,790 level. For those who are maybe slightly more on the cautious side, you could in a way wait until this the index, let's say, potentially gets above this little high here, and that was around the 6,860 level approximately there. A nice good push above this could open the path towards back up here towards the 6,915, or even, like I said, a retest of this downside resistance line. So for now, guys, long story short, basically keep an eye on today's close. Let's see where this is going to end up today. Jumping into Dow Jones now, looking at this index, and let me just get back into the daily here. So of course, looking at the cash indices right now, they are experiencing a bit of a sell-off here. So let's say on Friday we managed to close here on Dow Jones. We managed to close around the 24,740 zones, maybe just a few points below it. So right now the index is already, looking at the cash index, it is already trading about 300 points lower. So keep in mind that not a full 300 points, but around there. So we could basically open up somewhere around here to 24,450, 70, something like that. So keep your eyes on this one, guys. And if, of course, this would place the this would of course create a bit of a more negative short-term outlook. We could maybe see a slide lower here towards this potential area of support near the 24,125, but of course keep your eyes on down. This is where we could turn bearish in the near term. We would need to see a nice good drop below the 24,125, and only then we'll target lower levels like the 23,530, or even actually going towards the this year's opening price, which was around the 23,058 approximately there, guys. So long story short, guys, even though we are not far from this downside resistance line, of course be very careful with today's trading. Like I said, at the moment the index is already kind of, the cash index is already selling off. So let's see how this ends the day. But if this suddenly reverses back up here, now this is what we're going to be targeting. We're going to be targeting this downside resistance line, and we'll just take it from there and see what it wants to do with it. Because if it remains below this, and if it struggles to overcome this downside resistance line, well, this is where the bulls could face some problems. We could maybe see more bears jumping in here again and driving this index back down. But again, all this is just speculation for now. For basically, long story short, guys, right now the we could, like I said, end up opening somewhere around the 24,470 area, something like that, in between the 100 EMA and the 50 EMA here. So that's why we're going to be very watching it closely, and in order to kind of consider further declines, let's say in the near term, we need to see a drop below the 24,125. And on the upside, well, for those who are like to be to play the safe game here, in a way you could continue just observing this one, and if once, let's say, if we get a break here above this downside resistance line, this is where it could become more interesting for more bulls. So keep it up, keep on watching it, and let's see how this plays out today. Jumping into Brent oil. Now Brent oil is sliding here lower, still stuck within this little range here between the 59.20 on the downside and the 62.56 or 55 approximately there on the upside. Basically we need to see a nice good pop either through the upper side here of this little tight range that the commodity is trading in. Either we need to see a nice good pop above the 62.55 level, and then we'll target higher levels, or we need to see a drop below the 59.20 marked here by the lows that we saw here back on the 14th of January. A drop below this level could potentially confirm it could potentially clear the path towards this next good area of support near the 55.40, which was marked here by the highs of the 26th of December. So that's why, guys, for now, be very careful. Keep an eye on these levels and wait for a possible break. Jumping into one crypto which I've talked about this morning, and I just wanted to quickly touch on that one just to show you what's happening, guys. And for this one, let me just jump back into the 4-hour chart. And basically what's happening here is that I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this upside support line, which is a bit of a flattish one, and you can see that right now the crypto is breaking it. Well, it's already broke it actually, but now it's kind of shifting lower. But in order to kind of, let's say, consider further declines here on this crypto, well, we would need to see a nice good drop below this level right here around the 0.2865 approximately there. Now this was not far from the lows that we saw here back in December. A nice good drop below this could lead this crypto further down, but let's of course not get ahead of ourselves too much here, and let's see first what it wants to do with the 0.2865. Does it want to reach it because it's also not far from the S3, or does it actually want to reverse back up and close, let's say, the daily candle above this upside support line? And if it does that, then well, it could be a nice opportunity for the bulls. So keep it up, keep on watching it, and let's see how this day develops further. Jumping into EURGBP USDCAD. Now this is a very interesting pair here, and certainly looking at this overall, of course, we are trading below this downside resistance line taken from the highs of the 11th of January. The current price structure is kind of telling us that there is a chance for this one to push higher. The only problem is this downside resistance line that I've just mentioned. So in order to kind of, let's say, consider much higher levels, we'll probably need to wait until we see a nice good pop above this downside resistance line and then a break above the 0.8695 level, and this way we will then target higher levels. But for now, as long as it kind of remains below this downside resistance line, we need to be in a way skeptical of the upside, but then again, like I said, be very careful. We might see that break here, but if this continues to hold, if this downside resistance line continues to hold, certainly we could maybe see a bit of a slide back down. But let's say in order to kind of consider further declines here in the near term, we would need to see a nice good drop below the 0.8620 level, now marked here by the lows that we saw here back on the 25th of January. So this is in a way to kind of play it safe, guys. And just to kind of show you what's happening overall here on the EURGBP pair, basically the level here, the 0.8620, that was marked here by the lows of 16th of April last year. So this is quite an important level, where from which the pair rebounded recently. So keep monitoring it, because if this gets broken, this is where we will have to travel all the way even further into history, trying to find a good potential area of support. And one of these areas of support could be this level right here around the 0.8530 approximately there, which was kind of marked here by near the lows of the 17th of May 2017 and the high of the 25th of April 2017 as well. So this is, like I said, this is the level that we would be watching if we would get a break below the 0.8620 level. So keep your eyes on that one, guys. At the moment, of course, we are seeing a bit of a retracement here to the upside, and let's see what it wants to do with this downside resistance line. If it wants to break it, then yep, we could see maybe further acceleration here to the upside, but we'll play it slow, we'll play it safe, and we'll target the 0.8775 level first, and then we'll just take it from there. Jumping into GBPUSD quickly. Now this one, looking at the daily chart, you can see it's declining slightly low, back down here. Certainly the euro is kind of sitting flat today, but the GBPUSD is traveling lower, so hence why the EURGBP is trying to push higher. So in a way, long story short, guys, for now you can see that last week the pair found a good resistance near the 132.20. This is the level that we're going to be watching for potential upside scenarios later on. But at the moment, of course, looking at this, certainly it is declining lower. Now we are still trading above this kind of tentative upside support line taken from the lows of the 3rd of January. So if this continues to travel lower, we could end up testing this upside line. But let me just jump quickly into the 4-hour chart on this one, and this is what's happening right now. You can see that the pair is breaking below the pivot here, which is a bearish indication. Certainly the 4-hour candle has not finished yet. So let's see how this plays out, because if it decides to remain above this this pivot, then, well, I mean, maybe the bears are not as strong right now. But then again, like I said, in order to kind of consider higher levels, we need to see a nice good pop above the 132.20 level first, and then we will consider much higher levels. On the downside here, again, you could in a way play it safe here. You could in a way wait until this, let's say, drops below the area right here around the 130.80 level, something like that, and if it does, then yep, we could in a way target this upside, this short-term upside support line for a possible test of it. And this is where it could become then interesting to watch, because this is where the big battle between the bulls and the bears could erupt. And of course we'll just take it from there, see if it wants to break it or not. But for now, guys, certainly this is moving slightly lower below the pivot. It is kind of a bit of a bearish indication, but probably to be more on the safe side, wait for a possible drop below the 130.80 level approximately there, and only then we will target much lower levels. And by much lower levels, I mean the the psychological 130 level, or even actually this this short-term upside support line. So keep your eyes on it. Let's see how this plays out. And jumping into the last pair for this session, for this video, and that's USD-CAD. Now USD-CAD is having a nice push back here. Now one of my videos last week, I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this range. Of course, we managed to break that range to the upside, but found good resistance. The pair found good resistance near the 133.70 level, from which it reversed back down, and also managed to get back into this range and actually broke through the lower side of it. So in a way, now what I can say is that this is a bit becomes irrelevant. So certainly we will keep a close eye on this 132.30 level, which kind of in a way got violated here, and the pair found another good area of support here near the 132 zone. Maybe just a few pips higher, but from which it reversed back up and pushed higher. So in a way, certainly for now, this is a bit of a mixed trading activity that we're seeing here. In order to, let's say, to consider higher levels, we would probably start examining higher levels if we get a nice break above the 130 133 zone. A nice good pop above this could, of course, potentially, of course, lead this pair towards the 133.70, and this is, if this will fail to kind of to withhold the bulls, then yep, break of it could lead towards higher levels. But again, for now, guys, let's make it short and simple. First, keep an eye on the 133 level. If it gets a nice break here, then yep, this could potentially open the path towards the 133.70, and then we'll take it from there. On the downside, well, we would need to see a nice good drop, not only below this recent low here of the 132 level, 1.32, but also for better confirmation of the downside, we would probably wait for a drop below the 131.80. As you can see, it was marked here by the lows of the 11th of January and the 9th of January. So you can see it kind of twice held the rate from dropping lower. So a nice good drop this time could, yep, open the path towards much lower levels. And of course, then we will examine those levels later if we see that break here. But for now, it seems that it wants to continue pushing higher. So let's see how it plays out today. Okay, guys, I hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for watching and listening. And if you want to join me tomorrow morning at my Trader's Espresso, and that's 7 o'clock GMT time. But for now, I hope you have a fantastic trading day. Bye for now.